NFC
Right.
Championship game.
National Football
Yeah, the
Conference.
San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy at the helm, looking pretty, doing his stuff. Going against the Philadelphia Eagles, big favorite, or not big favorite here, but favorite here at 2.5 in in Philly. Probably rightfully so. They are just as talented across the board as San Francisco is, and then they're not relying on a third string quarterback. And it's not that Purdy isn't doing his job because he's handled his business, but it's been on the back of a well-rounded team, right? And similar boat. You can make that similar argument for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and anybody on that team, but they're doing it week in, week out. They were pushing for an undefeated season there, and towards the end, some things didn't work out, but they're a really good team, and it's hard for me not to pick the Philadelphia Eagles just because of who they are. They have great play calling. They're very balanced when they stick to it, and the things don't fall apart. So I'm going to go Eagles, and that things go their way.
Yeah, looking at this matchup, defensively, I feel like Philly's just as good, if not better, than what Dallas is, with better coverage on the back end. So I think they're going to present similar problems that Dallas did to San Francisco and holding them to 19 points. And then on the offensive side, more explosive right now and more balanced, like you said. Um, I gotta agree with you. I gotta go Philly here too. I think the keys to the game for me, some weaknesses I saw when they were playing Dallas this past game, and even in the Seattle game with Metcalf getting loose deep. Um, Jalen Hurts is gonna have to take some deep shots, whether it's Smith, whether it's AJ Brown. I think that defense, that's where you can get them. Defensively for the Niners, they're going to cause trouble because the offenses really, when you look at them, they run pretty similarly. There's lots of bubble screen action, there's lots of misdirections, there's lots of counter attack with the run game. Obviously, San Fran not as much with the read option, but they do pull bootlegs off of it. So these defenses are going to be well matched against each other. I think San Francisco's got the edge in stopping the short passing game for Philly. The slants and stuff like that, those linebackers, Greenlaw, Warner, are going to clog up some of those situations. As long as Philly doesn't turn the ball over, though, and um, can generate some deep shots, I think Philly could win this fairly comfortably. I got it like 24, maybe 17, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles defense is able to hold them down a little lower. I wasn't impressed with the San Francisco 49ers coming into last week and to only put up 19 points. I mean, that offense was just hanging on because they knew they had it on the other side of the field. There was limited threats against the Dallas defense. I think they're going to have the same kind of problems with Philly's defense. So I got the Birds going to the Super Bowl. How about you, Ed?
Woo! Let's go, Charlie. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a tough game. I mean, if I'm Philly, defensively, what I try to do is stop the run.
Talk
And
that
I,
shit. Ed.
and I make Purdy try and beat me. Period. Like plain and simple. Because you know what they're gonna do, right? And you should be ready for this, Philly, because you go against it in practice every day. When Jalen Hurts goes to run these option type plays, that's what they're gonna do. There's gonna be Debo back there, and this is all gonna go on behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying that I'm worried, but I'm telling you right now, San Francisco's offensive line is way more physical than Dallas. And it's definitely a better offensive line this week coming in than Dallas's offensive line was last week. So that's also something to take away from that. They're a very physical offensive line, very physical. And I know I know everybody's happy about the Eagles front and their offensive line, and you know they're playing very well. Kelsey's playing well. Johnson, Mr. Lane Johnson's playing very well. But this is definitely something to pay attention to because San Francisco's line is elite. And if Philly can't stop the run, it's going to be a problem, right? Because now Purdy doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to do. So that's my point indirectly is if you want to take San Francisco out of this game, you take the run away from them. If you can strip them from the run and you can shut McCaffrey down and whatever they're going to try and do with Debo back there, then I think I take Hurts in an all-out war throwing it. You know, I mean, if it comes down to throwing the ball. You know, I mean, you got to look over and you got to say that Philly has the edge throwing the ball, right? I mean, yeah, they got Kittle. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but, you know, the Eagles got Goddard, you know? I mean, I wouldn't say Goddard is better than, but he's still a hell of a tight end. He can block. He can catch. He can do both. And then outside, you got the Quez. You got Quez Watkins. You got Devontae Smith, and then you got AJ Brown, who just can't be stopped. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then if you do, it's everything I just said. So I'm going Philadelphia Eagles because I think quarterback wise, the teams kind of like even out, like offensively, defensively. Great, I mean, they're right there.
Great matchup.
They're right there with each other. That's what's going to make this one, I think, potentially a very low scoring game. And if it does happen to go up. Whoever ends up going up, the other guy made the mistakes. And, you know, I just don't know. I mean, when is Playground Purdy? When is Brock going to stop looking so fucking Purdy? We don't know, but it could be this game, and I'm not taking a chance. And I'm taking Jalen Hurts because I just think that Jalen Hurts is just way more in a better position right now than Brock Purdy is with the lacking of the experience and everything where he's at right now. I mean, I gotta go. Even though even though in the heart though, I just feel like San Francisco, they're a better coached team and they're gonna pull this one out. I think San Francisco is gonna win this, but I'm taking the Eagles because I think if they stop the run, I think the Eagles win this. All they got to do is stop the run.
Well,
I'm taking the Eagles.
I'm a little thrown off by that last little bit there, but you're taking the Eagles. So I'm
taking the Eagles, but
I was definitely not expecting the round the table.
But I'm telling you, don't be surprised if that offensive line of the San Francisco 49ers, man, shows up and shows out.
I'm gonna comment on that because. Listen, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you know this is the game. You know, in the beginning of the playoffs, this was what I expected was if the Eagles did win our first game in the playoffs, that we were going to be playing the 49ers. This is a scary matchup. The 49ers are a real good team. They come at us, or they come at teams with all types of different formations and all types of different looks, and that's what shakes up defenses when they go to play the 49ers. And they did it to one of the best defenses in the league in Dallas. I want to comment on the defensive line of the Eagles. I think that we got some of the top guys in the league that don't particularly get flustered by a good offensive line or whatever the case may be. Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat. We got guys like Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, veteran guys who aren't afraid to do their job, and I think they're going to come out to play this week. So I don't think that really plays a factor. I think that a lot of people don't remember, but back in 2019, Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy went up against each other. Oklahoma was 8-1. And on the other side, Brock Purdy and them boys was 5-4. So Brock Purdy and them wasn't fighting for much, but it was a crazy game. There was 11 total touchdowns in the game. Jalen Hurts got the better of him, 42-41. Brock Purdy, he's doing his thing. But I think right now, Jalen Hurts poses too much of a threat. And I think this week you're going to see Jalen Hurts run this quarterback option like he did in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season. I think you're going to see it more this week than you have seen it in the last 8 or 9 weeks. You're going to see him posing that threat and making them respect the game that he poses on the field. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not really going to be, you know, the San Francisco stopping the run game, because that's not going to happen either. We have one of the most elite offensive lines in the league, and Jason Kelce is playing out of his mind right now. Like on his last year or so in the league, and he's playing out of his mind. Lane Johnson hasn't let up a sack in almost 2 seasons. You got Jordan Mailata, who hasn't let up a sack all season. We got the offensive line to get it done, and Jalen Hurts just causes so much of a threat. You have to respect it. When they come in whatever formation they come in on defense, San Francisco, there's always the worry about what Jalen Hurts is going to do, and I think that's the game plan we're going to come in with is a lot of quarterback options with Jalen Hurts, and they're going to let him do his thing, and I'll put my money on Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy. It's going to be a hell of a fucking game, and the road to the Super Bowl is in our hands, baby. Let's go, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. If it at all gets muddy at all, and this game turns into a shootout for some reason, and both defenses for some reason, some way, somehow, just can't get them off the field, and this becomes a shootout, you have to put your money on Hurts.
I think Jalen Hurts' poise is just so much better. Like we look at Dak Prescott, right, and how he folded the way he did, and the amount of praise he's got, and the amount of performance that he's put out on the field. There's no doubt that Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback in this league. And then you see the performance he performs. Jalen Hurts' poise, bro, is different. Like, he's played well in these situations over and over again. And I'm looking for it to happen again. I mean, we went up against a tough division rival in the New York Giants, and we handled business lightly. You know what I'm saying? So go Birds, man, for real. I mean, I might be a little biased on this pick.
How many games has Brock Purdy played?
It's just this is gonna be a hell of a game. He's on his seventh, and he has.
This is seventh.
This will be his eighth, I think. Actually,
he's got 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
So something about Brock Purdy. He has more playoff wins than Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. That's 20 years. 20 years of a franchise, and Brock Purdy has more playoff wins than the both of them, and his first playoff game was 2 weeks ago. Embarrassing.
For San Francisco to pull off a win here, they're going to need a lot from Christian McCaffrey and essentially use the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles against them. Kind of like old war tactics, like let their front, let that defensive line come in. I think they're going to get a sack, and then get a Christian McCaffrey screen pass underneath or something along those lines, because you're going to need a lot from him, and you're going to need to get those big bodies out the way of that defensive line, because they are big dudes and they got long arms.
Absolutely.
Jordan Davis is huge. So in order to get space for Christian McCaffrey, they're going to have to get creative.
I think Buddy hits it on the head, because you're going to need a lot from McCaffrey, because I think a lot of the backfield formations that you see from Deebo Samuel, I think you're going to see less of that this week. I think you're going to see more of him out on the outsider, because we do a great job at shutting down that tight end spot. We have great linebackers, great safeties who are shutting down people like Kittle. You know what I mean? And I think Kittle struggles a little bit this week, and I think Deebo is going to have to be out on the outsider in the slot a lot more. So I think you're going to see more action from McCaffrey for sure. Like, he's definitely, like Brady hits that on the head for sure.
Absolutely going to be an incredible game.
Kittle's my X factor, because I think the key for San Francisco's success is a blend of what all y'all are talking about, which is going to be attacking the linebackers and the safeties up the middle. I don't think that they can beat Philly going to the edges.
Right.
I think Philly's got just as much speed to take that
I think
away.
The linebackers are the weakest.
Yeah, I look for if Kittle can have a similar performance to what he did last week against a similar linebacking set in Dallas that are really good at rushing the passer, but pass coverage wise is a little bit less lacking in that department. I think that's how they're going to have to do it, whether it's tunnel screens, whether it's tight end screens. Get that line of Philly coming up. But the thing is with Philly's line, this is a veteran group. So like they play so smart. It's to me, it's going to be a very tough road for San Francisco.
It's going to be a fucking chess match.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Charlie, based on the performance last week. And I've been terrified about San Francisco the whole entire playoffs coming into this week.
It's going to be a chess match.
But I think that the difference is, I think we come in with the same amount of pressure on defense, like you said about Dallas. Like, I think we pose the same threat, and then we're able to score. You could say the same about Dallas. Like, they're able to score too, but I think that we've just been more poised and we're doing it with ease, and the pressure just became too much for Dallas, and he did what.
Well, when Tony Pollard went out of that game, that
Absolutely.
whole momentum switched. That was their Jalen Hurts type of person who could change the game. They're
Absolutely.
McCaffrey. They're
I
and
feel
when
like
he went
Dallas would have
down
been
late in the first quarter, it to me it like sucked the life. They had to because
I
he was obviously featured more and
but
more for the game plan as the season went on. So
100%.
that was a big loss.
Believe it or not, I called both of Dak Prescott's interceptions while I was watching that game. I was like, yo, he's about to throw an interception. He threw the one to Fred Warner, and then on the second one, I might have called it a couple plays before, but I was like, yo, he's about to throw another one, and sure enough, he did. And that's just
And
an
Purdy,
Eagles fan
Purdy
talking
could have had a
shit.
couple
But
too. Trayvon Diggs had one go right through his hands. I wasn't as impressed with Purdy as I guess Ed was.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
He-
that Dallas
he did
defense
make
is
some
for real.
plays.
And that's, I think,
did
the
make
same
some
threat
plays.
is about to happen. Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat gonna be in his face all game.
That's what I'm saying.
Long.
That's what I'm-
Hassan Reddick gonna be in his face all game long.
Yeah, Reddick's
and then you
been
got the
moved
coverage
up.
in the secondary, bro. It's gonna be a real deal game. Holyfield, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. If you can't stop the run, though, you're in trouble because they're that's where San Francisco is gonna eat you alive. You know what I mean? If they're
Really?
able to get it off, then because that nullifies Purdy. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stack the box, shut
you
it
go
down,
play
open
action.
up shop, put the pole down, send the Philly flag. This is where we're at. You're not getting past
Ooh,
them.
and we get to play at home. Come on, bro. The Philadelphia Eagles couldn't ask for a better chance
Yeah,
to go
but-
back to the bowl. Let's do it.
Got to stop that run though.
Let's do it, Brady. Keep us moving.
All right.